Today we're talking about how to create a marketing strategy for small business. Hey, it's Tobey here from Training Business Pros. Thanks for joining me. I think it's so important for a small business to understand specifically what you should do to create a marketing strategy, and I guarantee you it's not what you think. Most companies think that it's about choosing an advertising channel, writing some ad copy. All of that typically comes later after this, and we're going to dive into what that is in just a second. Hey, welcome back. This is how to create a marketing strategy for small business. And when I work with small business, and I do this a lot, and I've been working with small business for years, as a marketing consultant, it's important that when I work with a company that we draft a marketing strategy from the get-go that is going to serve all things that we do from a marketing perspective. It's going to help us understand how to put a website together. It's going to help us understand where we should be marketing. It's going to help us understand the messaging that we put using our CRM. But all of that typically comes later after this initial strategy, which is something that I picked up from Bob Bloom and a book called Inside Advantage and some training courses. And I've been doing this now with companies, and it works really, really well. And it's essentially a 4-part strategy, and you need to come up with, you need to go through these 4 things, and there are statements to draft for some of them, and there are multiple statements to draft for others. And then when we get to the last one, you're going to see that that's the one that really helps us put the pedal to the metal, the rubber to the road, and just take off and start working that strategy. So it's a 4-part strategy. It's basically a solid strategy that you can rely on to create all of your marketing assets. And it starts with this. You need to figure out who, and that's really the title of the whole category, who is our high priority targeted customer and what do they actually want. And you need to make like a 10 to 12 word statement out of that. So it's a process that you go through, and that process is time-consuming. It requires more than one person on your team. I typically work with company leaders when we do it. So who is essentially that targeted customer that exists in sufficient quantity for them to remain loyal to our company to spur profitable growth? So again, if you're trying to sell to everyone, you're selling to no one. So it's important for you to figure out with a 10 to 12 word statement who that customer is and what do they actually want. Not what do we do for them, but what do they actually want? What are they looking for in a company like ours or in a product or service like ours? So figuring that out, again, is a process. I would highly recommend that you check out some of our other videos on how to do that. But again, when I work with companies, it takes us a while to draft that who statement because it's very powerful. Once you get to it, that can really help your entire marketing strategy. Okay, so who, once we get that out of the way, the next one is what. What do we do that is uncommon in the marketplace? Not unique, because I think unique can be ripped off and it's very subjective. But uncommon is like, well, what makes us different? It's like, what makes us the Jägermeister of our industry? Where, again, Jägermeister is kind of like a one SKU product that is extremely profitable company based on being different. And there's a whole culture created around that. So what do we do that is different from all the other companies who do what we do? For example, as a training company, one of the things that we do differently than most companies is we have a live stream facility where we can reach our audiences and interact with those audiences. That's something that is uncommon amongst most training companies. So there are all these little differences that can make a huge impact in your marketing because you've defined what makes you different than other companies. And trust me, it's not about being better. Different is way better than being better, because better is very subjective. You could say that, this vodka is better than that vodka, or this car is better than that car. That's a very subjective thing. Different, on the other hand, is something that is marketable. So try to remember that different is better than better. So what do we do that is uncommon in the marketplace? That's number 2. Number 3 is how, again, one word, how do we sell our what, which is our uncommon advantage in the marketplace? How do we sell that to our who? To that high priority targeted customer. And so how is a series of statements, again, 10 to 12 words, on different types of marketing avenues. In other words, we're going to sell our what to our who and develop those statements on our website and everything to do with our digital asset in that landing zone. And that's very important, of course, as a digital marketer. I think almost in all cases, traffic leads back to the website, whether you're doing YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever you're doing. And even in your paid advertising, it all leads to that landing zone back to your website. That the customer wants to get to know you before they take the next step. So how becomes a strategy where you're defining in that asset what you do that is uncommon and different, and who your target market is. So you're leveraging what and who and putting it in a specific place. That's how are we going to reach those people. We're going to reach them through this asset or through that strategy or through that paid advertising. And then finally, the last category is own it. And what I mean by that is you have to own all of this in the marketplace. So I always like the example, and I refer to Bob Bloom's example in the book Inside Advantage, where he talks about Neiman Marcus, who was a small single-store retailer, high-end retailer in Dallas, Texas, who had 2 very bad months pretty much every year, which was July and August, simply because of the heat in Dallas. And they decided, or Bob worked with them and decided that he was going to help them with this strategy, this Inside Advantage strategy. And part of owning it was creating a series of imaginative events. So owning who and what and how in a series of different and imaginative and obviously well-attended events. So they created something called Paris in a Fortnight, in which they would get the community involved and have orchestra in the park, or they'd have a silent auction somewhere, or whatever the event was, every 14 days throughout those 2 months in the summer. And then in conjunction with that, they would have runway shows for their new styles, high-end styles. And these events became so popular that those 2 months became the biggest selling months of their entire year. And then, as you know, Neiman Marcus sort of went on to become a global brand from there. So this Inside Advantage process really drove those strategies, and they owned all of that in the marketplace. They owned Paris in a Fortnight, which was a series of imaginative events. So who, what, how, and then own it. Once you get to own it, you've decided who your high priority targeted customer is. You've decided what it is you do that you're going to leverage that is uncommon in the marketplace. You've decided how you're going to sell your what to your who and all your assets, but now you need to get out there and own it in different places. And you need to decide what those are. And it could be as simple as setting up a new YouTube channel, such as we're doing here. This is a relatively new YouTube channel for training business pros. We really haven't focused on it in the past. But to us, we're owning that Training Business Pros brand here on YouTube. And as you look at all of the recent videos that we've put out, again, we've only been at it for a few weeks, they're all very similar in the thumbnails that you see. If you look at the videos, they're all very similar in quality. They all follow a specific formula. So we're owning our brand and our knowledge in a specific channel. That's what it means to own it. If you like this Inside Advantage process and you like what you're hearing and how it works, I work with companies all the time and use this process and work through this process with them, and it's very successful for pretty much every single company that I've ever used it on. And as a digital marketer, it's very important that I do this with customers because I need to know what it is I'm doing. And this strategy really helps me do that. So for more information on that, you can simply visit our website, trainingbusinesspros.com, and reach out to us. I highly recommend or suggest to you that it's a good idea just to have a conversation if you're thinking about starting a marketing strategy for your company. If you like the video, just give it a thumbs up. That would really help us and brand this new channel. And if you want to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one, including the video that came before this, which is a video about vision, which comes before this marketing strategy. So vision, which is mission, purpose, core values. Please go check that video out. And I look forward to seeing you next time.